Welcome back to Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. I'm Richard.
And I'm Noah.
And we've been away for a little bit.
It's been a busy month.
Yes, it has been.
Yes.
And so we've decided to come back and just do something lighthearted and fun. Something that a movie I never would have watched. Never would have picked up and watched.
Yeah, and you finished watching it how long ago?
Oh, about an hour ago.
About an hour ago you finished watching it?
I jammed it in this morning.
This is a purely brand new, like very much fresh, as fresh of a take as you can get.
We haven't talked about this at all, and usually we drop hints with each other a little bit where we stand on...
Yeah, I have nothing, because I've seen this movie several times.
Okay.
I enjoy it, and I said, hey, why don't you watch it? I think you'll actually potentially like this one. It's got a lot of actors that you like.
It's got a lot of actors that I like in it.
Alright, I figured there was at least some parts of it that you'd find enjoyable. So that movie is Kong Skull Island, from the new Monsterverse franchise. It started with the Godzilla 2014 movie, followed up by Kong, which was then followed up by Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then finally Godzilla v. Kong.
Oh, there was one of those, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the most recent one, and it was the Monsterverse.
Okay.
And they introduced more monsters. They had, like, classic Godzilla monsters, like Rodan and Ghidorah and Mothra, and Mechagodzilla and a bunch of other stuff. It's just a bunch of... I enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
They're campy monster movies where you just get to see giant monsters beat the crap out of each other, and that's all I watch them for. That is the purest form of consume the content, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what'd you think of Kong Skull Island?
Well, I've never been a big fan of these movies, probably since Jaws ruined me for a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Jaws did a lot of damage. I was like 10 when I saw Jaws in theaters, and it ruined me for swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
And it ruined me for watching anything where human beings get eaten.
Okay.
And so
no Jurassic Park.
I've watched one or two of the Jurassic Parks. I've been able to, just put my knee-jerk reaction to that down and watch them.
Childhood trauma.
Yeah, it's
There's something to be said about these movies.
Jaws
There's something to be said.
Did a lot of damage.
Yeah.
It did. There's movies that we really just shouldn't show our children when they're young. And this is one of them. So when your mom said, "Hey, let's go to the ocean and go swimming," I said, it's okay. Yeah. I do not need to dangle myself as bait for, creatures that live in that environment. I don't go camping in Wyoming for the same reason.
Yeah.
Anyways, the movie that we're here to talk about. Okay, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
We're so proud of you overcoming this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. One like equals one round of applause.
I'll take pity likes. That's fine. I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it because, one, I was able to just take it for what it was.
Yes.
Two, there were things about this movie that I enjoyed that had absolutely nothing to do with the characters, the actors, the performances, the plot. I mean, the plot, you pretty much, a whole bunch of people are going to an island where there's enormous gorillas. People will be killed. People will be eaten. People will... meet really gruesome deaths, and somebody's going to live, and really the fun is picking the background characters, who's going to die, right? Who's going to live, who's going to die. And I think the only surprise for me was the young white kid with the red bandana. I thought he was going to be a goner right away. Somehow he makes it through to the end.
They set it up.
Right.
I think that was hey, we're just going to mess with the audience here.
And you got that whole Chapman thing, and I thought maybe Chapman would pull off one of those, figure out a way of hide and survive, and then he just, out of nowhere, just gets popped out, right?
Yep.
Anyway, but being that it's me, I had my notepad, I had my pen, I take notes when I watch these things.
Yep.
And, I had to stop throwing the BS flag right from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
When you have an island surrounded by a perpetual, impenetrable storm. Like, and nobody has known about this, and nobody has believed it's existed, and what, really?
Yep.
You know, Magellan didn't have a note about it in his charts. Shackleton didn't stop by, you know. I mean, there's right. So I was like, when those thoughts crossed my mind at the beginning of the movie, I said, okay, dude, you just need to shut it down and watch.
You know one of my favorite in any media, oh my, how many notes did you take?
No,
you
no, just
turn the page. It's Kong Skull Island. Okay, as I was going to say, the trope of the South Pacific Island is so hilariously overdone that I can't help but enjoy it.
Okay.
Because it's used everywhere.
Okay.
It's used everywhere. Bond villains, The Incredibles, because of Bond villains.
Right.
Video games. If you're a revolutionary character or a character who's sent to a new country that's super high tech in a video game, like this happens all the time.
Right.
And you're there to overthrow the tyrannical monarchy. Well, you can't use an established country. That's offensive. So it's a South Pacific nondescript island nation. Because that's somehow being fed money by the Russians because that's
gotcha. Yeah.
And then
or an evil black ops department of the United States government.
Exactly.
Right.
That too. Yeah. Usually it's both. It's used literally. It's such a trope that it's always a South Pacific island nation. I find that hilarious because that's always what it is.
Gotcha. So
yes, the South Pacific nondescript island nation.
Yeah. And so we get the intro to, you know, all the helicopters get through the storm. Okay, cool. They get through the storm. And then you get the first helicopter being taken out with the tree used as a spear. And I thought, oh, that was surprising. That was kind of cool. And, oh, we have Kong, tool user.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know that the lowland gorilla will take or is it the gorillas or the monkeys? They will take a stalk of grass.
Very much.
They will peel leaves off it. They will wet it, and they will stick it down a termite hole, and they will pull up termites and eat them. Like, it's tool use. It's really cool.
Yep.
You know,
some of them are learning how to spearfish by watching humans.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, but we're like, okay, wait a minute. Aren't gorillas vegetarians? I actually had to Google that one while I was watching the movie, you know, because we see the gorilla holding the helicopter, much like you're trying to get the last milk dud out of the end of the box in the theater, and it's stuck up there, and you're tapping the end, try not to make so much noise that you bother the people next to you, but you're going to get that last milk dud, and here he is shaking that helicopter until the soldier finally falls out and falls into his mouth. And of course, here's what's so entertaining about that. I mean, not only was it a fun camera angle looking down through the helicopter, but they immediately cut to someone eating a sandwich. That's what I thought, okay, this is going to be a fun movie. This is going to be creative.
Oh, yeah.
But what I really enjoyed, right from the beginning, the camera angles and the shots that they came up with were just entertaining. They were creative. It's like someone with an imagination, I don't know if it was the editor, the director, the cinematographer, set up these absolutely hysterical shots, and some of them were just really creative. Great use of, like, a picture in the reflection of the aviator sunglasses stood out in my mind as being a real good one. So the camera angles were great, and I just appreciated the filmmaking.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah.
It was very well done.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
The director put a lot of... I've seen some of the behind... The director put in a lot of effort into it. It's very obvious he cared about trying to make a fun movie.
So it's fun watching, you know, generic, nondescript human being get stomped by a gorilla the size of the Empire State Building. The body flying through the air. I just kept thinking to myself, that poor man. Flying through the air, slams into the windshield of the helicopter, then gets sucked up into the rotor. Like, how are we gonna kill him? Oh, let's do this. I can just see the writers giggling over that one. That was fun.
Yeah.
And then you have the gorillas versus the Colonel stare down, and it was that moment that I realized Samuel L. Jackson as Colonel Packard was Captain Ahab. I was like, okay, this is Ahab. Got it. He's going to die before the movie is over. It's foregone conclusion.
Yep.
And then there were when you get the helicopters taken off the boat and flying into the storm, realize, okay, we're going to see helicopters crash. We're going to see helicopters crash into each other. It's not if, it's when. Yeah, it's when. Right? And how are we going to see it? We're going into an island with gigantic gorillas. People will be eaten. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And if, and so when I knew it was going to happen, the whole thing about Jaws was when I was 10, it was all surprising. Yeah, that was the right.
Well, and so many of these things in monster movies have been done so often before. They're tropes. It's a checklist,
right? Of
and
things that you have to see.
The question isn't, are they actually going to do that? No, the question is, when are they going to do it, and how creative are they going to do it?
Exactly.
And is it going to be a new entertaining? Because there's only so much you can do with this.
Exactly.
Concept. There's only so much you can do. So you might as well make it as entertaining as possible. I want to see someone get slapped into a mountain.
Oh,
while he's trying to sacrifice Blake.
Okay, the greatest. Let's go back a couple pages and tick that one off the list of things that I don't have to talk about. Okay, yes, the heroic self-sacrifice, the hardcore veteran soldier holding the grenades,
tink, tink.
And then he gets taken out by a tail, and yeah. Now, the only part about that kind of bothered me was if he got hit that hard, he probably would have let go of those grenades right away. Probably. He would not have carried them 3 football fields down until he hit the wall, but it was still funny nonetheless. It was hysterical. Okay. That was great. Now that guy delivered before his untimely demise, one of the better lines of the movie as the hardcore veteran, because we have one soldier freaking out. We just got taken down by a monkey the size of a building. And he says, that was an unconventional encounter. You think? Yeah, really? I think he was eating a can of pork and beans while he said that.
Oh, man.
John Goodman's character saying that they're waiting for the cavalry, and Colonel Packard walking away saying, I am the cavalry. That was a fun Samuel L. Jackson line. I am not the biggest fan of John C. Reilly, but there are roles that he does exceptionally well. In Chicago, he was absolutely phenomenal. And then I absolutely loved the line, you are more beautiful than a hot dog and a beer at Wrigley Field on opening day.
Of course you like that one. I forgot he made that line, but I remember sitting watching this movie the first time going, Dad would appreciate this movie just for that line.
Oh, just for that line. Yeah. And so, obviously this movie was made like how long ago? We don't even have... I
want to say it's like 2016.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago.
We don't have to worry about giving spoiler warnings, but at the end of this raucous movie where you're waiting to figure out who lives and who dies, and you have all of these exploding bodies and giant creature fights and all that stuff, you get an unexpected, really cool, emotional reunion scene where he returns home after 30 years being lost because his character was shot down during World War II, lands on this island and ends up surviving, due to the natives. Yep. And then he finally gets reunited with his wife, with his son that he's never seen. And then he sits down and he has a cold bottle of Budweiser and he watches a Cubs game on TV. And I looked at the shot and I was like, wait a minute, that was Ernie Banks hitting a home run. And it was the Wrigley I grew up with. It was the Wrigley before the lights. It was Wrigley before night baseball. It was, and I was just like, oh, that was wonderful. That was, it was like a little piece of my childhood coming back. And in a movie,
it's where it's set. It's where it's set
well,
in the
post
Vietnam era.
Yeah, it was 1973.
Yeah,
but I remember that.
Yeah.
That's when I started following the Cubs. I was 8.
Yeah.
You know, but it was an unexpected, touching end of the movie.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
The other great lines. I had to write down the great lines.
Oh, yeah.
The writers were hysterical.
It's fantastic.
They see the boat that he made and say, "This thing looks like it was made of pure tetanus." If you haven't seen it, they took airplane parts and they put it together to try and build a boat, and it's a 30-year-old airplane. Which, oh, by the way, the gasoline still worked after 30 years, and they got it running. Yeah, please. I had to Google that one. Gas breaks down after about 6 months.
Yeah.
And 30 years later, the gas still worked. All right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so the historical picture pillars were creative and fun. The group gets into the native village to the compound, and they go into the old ship that has been turned into this... shrine almost, and they have
fun fact.
Yeah.
The that ship is an Easter egg. If I believe it's that one, because that's the ship that ship has a name, and I don't remember what it is because I don't care as much about King Kong, but it's named after the ship that brings Kong to New York in the original story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, a little
I did not know that.
Twist of fate there. Okay. That's like, wait, what?
Yeah. But the whole idea of telling the story and giving that descriptive narrative and then having the camera pan and turn, and as the angle changes on those stone pillars, the paintings all come together.
Yep.
That was just really creative, really fun. And I actually think the filmmaking is better than the story. Yeah, I mean, really, these people really put a lot of thought into it, and it was really, really well done. And of course, there's the Beauty and the Beast angle. You know, you like, Brie Larson's in the Faye Dunaway character. She's gonna soothe the savage beast. Did enjoy how quickly Tom Hiddleston got a gas mask on while he's running, and was able to cut predator birds apart with a sword. That was fun. Yeah.
I don't know. You can put a gas mask on pretty quick.
Not one-handed. While you're running. And get it all tightened down. And beat off these things that just picked up a scientist, that annoying scientist. You know, the guy was like, "I'm not getting on that helicopter." He's on the helicopter. "I'm not walking to the island." He's walking through the island. So, of course, he gets picked up by the predator birds and carried away, and you get to see his arm ripped off while he's up in the air. That was fun. Yeah, I like that. All right.
Annoying character must die.
Annoying character must die. So in terms of I didn't have that many notes.
Oh yeah.
In terms of
I'm surprised you had that. Half of it's quotes.
That's what. Okay, so one of the things that you and I have been doing in a lot of these conversations is we've really been picking on not the performers, we've been picking on the writers and the directors and the choices that they make. And I'm telling you, the quality of the filmmaking in this and the writing was fantastic.
It
really was.
This was a movie where the studio went, "We need a Kong movie," and the director went, "Okay, can we not go back to New York?" And the studio was like, "Sure, tell your own thing." He's like, "Okay, it's gonna be set entirely on Skull Island, so let's just do Jurassic Park."
Yeah.
He's like, "We only got so many things we can do here, so let's just make this fun, as fun as we can."
Right. And they did.
Yep. And they did. They were like, "Let's put every cliche, let's exaggerate it. Let's take every trope, let's exaggerate it. Let's twist them. Let's make all the deaths funny. You have an ape. What's the funniest things we can do with a skyscraper-sized ape fighting off soldiers?"
I
Shake them out.
If this was, that was, I really liked that one. Brie Larson's character gets knocked off the mountaintop and falls into the river. I really wanted to see one of those underwater squids come by and just take her. That would have been perfect. I was like, oh, free meal.
Yeah.
Kong with a chain whip. The chain wrapped around the propeller of the ship. Yeah. That was fun. That was fun. It was like, oh, I can use this. Boom. I was writing, so I didn't see how he got wrapped up in chains. I don't even know if you remember that.
I think they had like a harpoon thing system. I think they had a harpoon gun system where they hothed him.
Oh.
Like the snow speeder.
Who was they? It obviously
I think they did it with helicopters.
Oh, gotcha.
Sure.
No, there were no helicopters at that point. I don't know. I was taking notes. I wrote something, and then I look up, and suddenly he's breaking out of chains.
It's been a minute. I remember more of him like baseball batting these like cryptid monsters.
Oh yeah.
These freaking like eldritch horror beings.
Yeah, those are really
it's like, well, you know, and it's because that was another thing is that traditionally Kong fights dinosaurs.
Right.
In the old movies.
Right.
He's fighting dinosaurs on Skull Island.
Okay.
But they were like, we don't want to do that. We have to tie this in with, like, Godzilla. Okay, there's these things that are dinosaur-like, but we're going to give him a twist so that he still has something to fight. But it's not dinosaurs. Yeah, and it fits better into this universe they're creating.
This is King
I thought that was a little bit better.
Meets Journey to the Center of the Earth is what it was.
Well,
except that the
Hollow Earth is used, very liberally in this franchise to explain where all these monsters come from and proto-civilizations. And basically every single conspiracy you can imagine they threw in here to justify the fact that these monsters exist.
Well,
it's hilarious.
I think if there's one thing that I didn't particularly like, because I'm really tired of this, both in the movies but societally, is John Goodman's character and the geologist both say the Earth is not ours, it belongs to them. Yeah, I'm really tired of this concept. The Earth is ours. We live on it. We are no less than any other creature on the Earth. Okay, maybe we're not the size of the Empire State Building and can fight giant things, but
yeah, that's used. That is also used throughout the series because it's like there are these giant creatures that are capable of destroying this world, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. They need to learn to figure out a way of existing with them. That's just the plot beat. It basically is justifying the humans being in a movie they have no purpose being in. Because let's be honest, we're not going to these movies to see the human story. We go to these movies to see big ape swing tree like baseball bat.
Okay. So on that note, Kong very casually reaching out, grabbing a tree and stripping it before he swings it like a bat. That was kind of fun. I don't go to these movies, and unless we were like, okay, what are we going to talk about that isn't MCU? What are we going to talk about? Let's have some fun. And you love the monster movies.
I love monster movies.
Yeah,
they're guilty pleasure.
Are they?
They are.
Okay.
They really are. The one thing I didn't put up there is my 13 film collection of Godzilla classic films that's sitting in my bag right there.
Okay, so my question, because I know that I didn't show these to you.
I found them on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah. I used to sit and watch them on Netflix. When we had Netflix, I'd just sit and watch them because I was bored. And I was like, here's a black and white rubber monster suit movie of a pterodactyl whose wings make hurricanes.
Gotcha.
I want to see this, so I watch it, and I find it hilarious. And mostly watch them because they're hilarious. Well, because it's absurd. It's just absurdity.
Right. I'm glad I watched this one. It was fun. It really was fun. If great filmmaking. It was just great filmmaking.
It has no right to be as good as it was.
Yeah, I think Yeah. How did they get that cast? That was really a fantastic cast.
And they never return. Like the character, Tom Hiddleston's character comes back, and he's played by old Lannister from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Right.
he comes back in the Godzilla King of the Monsters one, and he's trying to pit the monsters against each other so they all kill each other off.
He was trying to save Kong in this one.
Yeah, he's like pitting them against each other because Godzilla is like a threat.
Gotcha.
He's pitting them against each other so that all the monsters come back. Like he's trying to find the apex. They call it the apex predator.
Gotcha.
So that it's like whoever is the most powerful will bring all the monsters back. So yeah, he's trying to like bring all the monsters back and have them take over the earth. So yeah, he pretty much goes completely in the extreme, but he's played by a completely different actor. So it's like,
do they have the same photojournalist?
No.
And did they ever post her pictures on Time magazine?
I have no idea.
You would think that if...
He's the only one that makes a return. After that, they come up with a completely different cast.
Gotcha. Yeah, well...
Actually, O'Shea Jackson, who we were praising in Obi-Wan, is in Godzilla King of the Monsters. He plays an army dude with a very, very obvious shaving profile.
Shaving profile?
He's allowed to have a
beard. Gotcha.
He's allowed to have a beard in uniform.
In the Navy, we would have called that a shaving chit. That's why I didn't... You call it a profile. We call it a chit. This guy, it's going back a ways. Anyways, so this falls into the category not of one of those movies that if it comes on, drop what you're doing and watch it on a Saturday afternoon.
No.
But if you are looking for something that's mindless and fun and well acted, but really, really creative storytelling,
really,
watch Kong Skull Island.
Yeah,
it's
pretty. Especially since the original Godzilla, they try to be super dramatic.
Oh yeah, this one isn't.
This one is not.
Yeah, no,
this one is campy. It's goofy. It's hilarious.
Yep.
It's a fun movie.
So go ahead and watch that, and that's this week's episode of Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks for tuning in. Leave your comments below. Hit subscribe if you want to see more. And there we go.
There we go.
Have a great day.
Bye.